Your full names, please.
Ma maina ga go ka botlalo o simolole ka leina o feletse ka sefane.
Leina la ka ke nna Sentirang Vinolia van Roy.
Sentirang Vinolia van Roy.
Your age.
Dingwaga di o na ngwaga tsa kae ma o tla bua fela gore ka bua nnete.
Ke tla bua nnete.
Ke ra gore o tlo go tsa maikano go tsa wena o motho o tsa maikano mme o motho o le goreng o thomamisiwa ka lereo le le tla le dirisiwang go thomamisiwa gore o bue nnete kgotsa o tlo tsa maikano.
Do you regard the prescribed oath as binding on your conscience?
Ma a o itse maikano a bofa sege.
God.
A wa ikana gore bopaki ba gago e tla nna nnete fela nnete yotlhe selo tsa seatla sa mojaire modimo nthuse.
Modimo a nthuse.
Julie Sonoin, Commissioner.
Thank you so much. May I find out from you, Mr. Nkonde, please take a seat.
Duela fatshe ma.
Are you going to lead her? Or
Maybe before we proceed, because I just want to have certain information on record, because it's understand that this is a public hearing.
Jaanong go nna la ntlha, a wa tlhaloganya gore fano, ke theetso ya mongwe le mongwe, mongwe le mongwe ke theetso ya mongwe le mongwe.
Ya ke a tlhaloganya.
Yes, I do understand. Mongwe le mongwe a reditse.
Nnyaa ga ke na bothata.
Not at all.
And I just want to conscientize you of certain things.
Tsebe kgotsa go reetsa.
We also are streaming this hearing Africa. That is also probably,
Dikgang tsa gago.
we equally have several radio stations amongst.
E farologaneng ya dikgatsogang fano tse e le gore ge ka tlhamala di tsamaisa puisano e mo porofenseng nka se re fela mo porofenseng
This platform I've explained.
morago ga o fetsa go utlwa ge tlhaloso eo a o santsane o itira sebete gore wa go tswelela go fana ka bopaki mo mpananeng kgotsa mo go mang le mang.
Ke a go tswelela.
Of the CHP, which is a document, our Bible, when dealing with or providing submissions.
Ke tlo kopa gape ke tlo eletsa ka sengwe se e le gore se atle se
You want,
be anonymous.
you want to be anonymous.
O batla ona go se ka bua leina la gago mang.
Yes.
Yes.
Maybe let me and already your name is public because you've been sworn in. You've taken an oath. Your name and surname has been placed in an open arena. So anonymity is a bit of.
Flutsi.
Okay, a gona bothata.
Okay, there is no problem.
Commissioner, with your concerning a minor, and what the team wants to safeguard is the interest in public. We would give it a particular name, maybe X, through your guidance. Can you please have your guidance as to how we proceed, considering all the background that we've just laid?
because at this stage, I'm not sure if she's really and truly willing to testify in an open forum, being on record already. That is the reason why she has decided. So we will give the child a name, maybe not necessary, baby X. We want to be sure that testify without any duress exerted on you.
Yes, Commissioner, I will do it.
Consulted to say no, you should not. It should not be made public. So you already indeed want to testify in public, and maybe you can put us in the know. What informed you wanting to?
Ono bona o le matlhagatlhaga ga o susulugile ga o ne o bua ore o batla fana ka bopaki mme morago ga bontsha yanong e ka re ge wa dikadikanya mpananeng.
Ke siame nna ke ka nna ke a rebola bopaki mpananeng a ke na bothata.
I don't have. I'm fine.
To you testify in public.
Memma, ga o ise o re fe lebaka
ke ne ke sa itse gore go diragalang ga nne le mpotsa ke ne ke tlhakatlhakaneng so nou yana ke siame a gona bothata.
Just remember that once we start, we can't stop. It doesn't matter how difficult the questions will become. We
ke gore bokete ba dipotso mme le tlo tswela pele.
Go siame eya ke amogela.
It is fine.
the name for the minor child, and we can call the minor child baby Nino, if that is. So if you can just also then, as at the time when you talk to the witness, when she introduced that evidence, just remember to make aware.
Minor child.
Ma re lebeletse gore bopaki jang jo re tlo go bo rebolang go akaretsa ngwana yo santseng a le monnye tsa le monnye ka dingwaga.
We are aware of the actual name, but for the purpose of record,
Ngwana la le gore re itse maina ga gagwe ke mang mme re kopa o se a bitse o se a
Eya ke a utlwa.
okay.
Yes, I hear.
Thank you very much. So we can start.
Ke ngwana malomaka.
She's my aunt's child.
For the sake of, and then so that the witness will keep her microphone on. And I'm requesting you, so you are saying, baby Nino, it's
O ile a tlhokafala.
Passed away or demised.
okay.
You know,
Ke nna ke ileng ke itseela maikarabelo ke bona a safara a sotlega.
since she was struggling and suffering,
Ke simolotse go mo tsaya ka 2019.
I took her in 20. Jaanong ga re bua mo nakong eno motsing ono mo nakong eno a o dula le ena baby Nino kgotsa baby Nino o nna go gongwe. Ke anya mo dintlheng tseno.
Okay.
Have you not,
Jaanong ge ga o itse o tseye matsapa go ya ge go ngwana go ya ka tshiamelo go ditokomane tsa tsa go mo kopa ka tshiamelo.
you know,
Mmagwe baby Nino kae?
Since ke kopane le ene ka 2019,
Since I met her 2019,
ke a mo kopa bana gore ka gore ene ga nne le bana o dula mo mafikeng ha tlhokomele bana.
you are fully responsible for the needs. You are the primary caregiver of baby Nino.
re tla re ge go siame ke wena jaanong ge
This year,
ngwaga ono baby Nino o mo grateng ya bokae?
Grade 10.
Grade 10.
the incident you came to testify about, and those details around the
O
incident,
gopola matha le kgwedi?
Eya
Yes.
please introduce them
Re
into record.
tswetswe re bolelele
ka di 3 tsa March.
3rd of March lola jaanong re bolelele gore go diragetseng jaanong.
Please, again, don't make a mistake of referring to her by name. For the purpose,
Eya.
Yes.
take the commission through your evidence.
Jaanong ge lo tlegela mo commissioner.
Bese ne ya senyegela mo tseleng.
Then the bus got stuck on the road.
Ya fitlhela e tsene ka 6 ko go rona.
Then it arrived home at about.
O ile a thulwa ke koloi ya moroba maoto.
She was hit or bumped by a motor vehicle and broke her legs.
Ene ngwana o na gobetse thata o na thubegile le sebete.
She was severely injured, whereby even her liver broke. Her to hospitals.
Ke nna ke mo saenetseng mo sengwe le sengwe ko sepetlele.
I was the one who affixed my signature to each and everything at hospitals.
So ke bone gore ke tse maikarabelo a ka gore so o tlhoka le di-crutches ke ntsha tšhelete ke go mo rekela tsone.
She also needs crutches. I need money to go and purchase for her.
Ka gore rona re phela re ntse re itshokolola le bone a go sepe se se nthusang.
Because nothing is helping.
Ke tlo ema peleng. Ke tlo go emisa peleng.
I will stop there for now.
Okay, thank you very much. Then, can I take you back on the point of the accident
Tiragalo e diragetse ka ura ya
in the
borataro.
evening?
E diragetse ka ura ya borataro.
Yes, at about 6.
Can I jog your memory?
A ke go gakolole.
In March, when the incident happened around 6, was it still visible or
Ya teng ge wa re ka ura ya borataro ka nako ya teng a gone go santse le go sedimogile go bonala kgotsa letsatsi le le tiketse kgotsa gone go ntse yang tlhalosetse mo ntlheng eo.
go ne go le lefifinyana.
It was a little bit dark.
So, how far was the child hit?
The child was alighting from a bus.
And then a ipota ko pele.
Then she went in front of it.
Nako ena sena ipota ko pele ke ga a feta mo gare ga sekontere.
Then when she passed in front of it, she crossed over the
About the bus.
a re bue ka bese yaanong.
Is the bus a scholar, a contracted scholar transport using that bus?
Baby Nino o ne a ina le sebaka se se kae a dirisa bese eo, go tla palama bese eo.
E ne le kgwedi ya boraro a le mo sekolong sa leng ko go sona.
It was 3rd month in the school that she was attending.
Had there been an assistant
Go na le thuso ge kgotsa ngwana go na le thuso e rileng ngwana gore a tlole tsela kgotsa go gabaganya tsela e ke ba sa thulwa.
E ga ne go na le motho o ba tlhokometse mo beseng.
Yet from
Cause nne ne re shebile gore go bosigo. Ga ne a dirile gore a pote ka kwa a mo folose ka ko teng.
because since we realized it was during the night, he was supposed to go on the other side of the road so that they can alight. Jaanong ge o ya ka wena o supang mang ka monana o tlhodileng kotsi go ya ka wena kotsi e dirilwe ke go ya ka wena.
Ke bese e na le bothabana.
Because the bus stuck at the road and on the way and stayed for long.
So it tlile lata nna ke blame ka gore e tlile lata.
I blame it because it came.
the time, baby Nino, what was her normal arrival time
Mo dikgweding tse tharo,
after school?
baby Dino o na goroga ka nako mang ga tswa sekolong, o na goroga ka bonako mang mo dikgweding tse tharo tseo.
O ne a goroga ka 3.
3 pegelo ya bese rogileng.
Ha ke tlhaloganye.
Again?
Did you as parents
Ja
get
wena-
a
ja- jaaka wena le
report
motsadi,
that the bus was stuck?
wa begelwa gore bese e robegile.
Ha ke a begelwa ke ope.
No one reported to me.
From the explanation you might have received, do you know perhaps what time did the bus get stuck?
Jaanong ge,
Batle bosigo.
I got it from the child when I went to visit her, telling me what happened or what led you to arrive late.
A ntlhalosetsa gore bese sa le ba tswile ka 10 ko
Leading you, I don't want to put leading question. You're saying the bus was stuck at 10.
O rile bese ge ene robegile ka ura ya 10.
Eh.
Calculation takes me to 8 hours of waiting
Jaanong ge go ya ka bokoa mo dipalong ge
for the bus to be sorted out.
jaanong
Over, like around 8 hours, let's say over 5 hours.
jaanong ha re go tla go feta diura tse tlhano, o took them long time before the bus can be in a good service or can be fine.
In terms of the policy, I would not bore you with the details. Would you say they are expected to attend to problems within 2 hours? From your calculation and your report, would you say they complied with that policy?
They took that time.
Let me maybe rephrase my question.
A ke botse potso gape sentle.
Did they resolve this issue within 2 hours or over 2 hours?
Ba bankantse bothata bo mo diureng tse pedi kgotsa go tshotse nako e telele.
Ba tshotse nako e
They
telele.
took a long time.
The accident might have been avoided.
Jaanong ge o batla gore o ra gore ha ngwana a na gorogile ka ura ya boraro ko gae a kotsi e ke be diragetse.
Nke be e sa diragala.
Could not have happened.
After the accident, can you take us through? Did you receive any form of support?
A ona le tshegetso ge mafapha a mabedi lefapha leno la thuto le la dipalangwa a gona le tshegetso engwe ba go segatsa go tsa thuso ngwe ba dirile mo go wena.
Or let me ask different. Let me
Yes, they assisted me twice.
please introduce the type of assistance.
Thuso
into
eo
record.
re bolelle mofuta wa thuso o ba gore o e reboletsweng.
Mofuta wa thuso ke gore Dr. Maboyo o ile a tla go le Sontaga.
Dr. Maboyo came on Sunday
A tsamaya le nna ko sepetlele ra go bona gape ngwana.
and left with to hospital with me to go and check or visit the child.
Okay.
Go bona ngwana gore o ntse yang.
Yes, to see the situation of the child.
Did they render any assistance except for just seeing the child?
Jaanong ge go na le thuso nngwe gape e ba go thuseng ka yona ntle fela le go bona ngwana?
nnyaa ga iyo.
No, nothing.
Okay, except the visit that you referred to with the doctor that you've spoken about. You said there were two incidents of us.
a ntsaya le ene a ya ke a go saenela ngwana ka bonako ka nne ke batliwa.
Principal Budiba took me to go and to sign for the child as I was needed urgently.
What did you, what to sign for the child? Where were you taken to?
O isitswe kae ko ya go saenela ngwana ko kae?
Ko sepetleleng sa Rustenburg GST.
GST Rustenburg Hospital.
So after signing, what happened?
Ga diragalang ga o sena go signa?
Ke gone ga nne ba ile mo kgaola leoto.
That is when they amputed her leg.
Is it then my correct assessment and reading to say the only time you interacted with the department, it's only in those two times?
Jaanong ge tlhaeletsano ya go buisana go tla tlhaeletsano le mafapha a ke nako tse gabedi fela nako tseo fela. Yes.
Okay. Now, let's try and differentiate. I know it may be difficult for you to differentiate. We are talking about two departments here.
Jaanong ge ke a itse ke a re ke go farologanya ke a itse gongwe o kana wa ketefalelwa re bua ka dintlha tse pedi tse di farologaneng fano.
Are you
Le lefeng ngaka ya ntlha e ne e tswa mo lefapheng go tsa e biditswe ke lefapha le lefeng?
Ga ke itse.
I don't know.
okay? Are you aware when you went to jail?
Motlhankedi nako e o ne wa go saenela o ne wa go GTS ko o ne wa go saena gore ngwana kgaolo le toge motlhankedi kgotsa motho o wa lefapha o na le wena?
Motho wa lefapha la sepetlele.
O tsamaile le ngaka e rileng go wa go bona ngwana kgotsa go tlhola ngwana?
The second time you went to JST and with another official to sign for the amputation.
La bobedi ge go na le motlhankedi wa itse gore motlhankedi kgotsa motho o o berekela lefapha le lefeng kgotsa o berekela kgotsa department e feng?
O ruta bana ke principal a sekolo.
It's a school principal.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, let's talk about, I am mindful of those things.
Ke tlo ga fapoga dintlha tse dingwe tse ka fetsang di upulutse ngwana sekolo ke etse tlhoko dintlha tse dingwe tse nyalo.
Now, the question is, from my side,
Ke supa motho wa bese.
The owner of the bus,
why are you saying that?
goreng o re yalo?
Because o nnile lata ka bana.
Because he was late with children.
Okay. Of the child,
Re lebeletse ge dingwaga tsa ngwana kgotsa bogolo ba ngwana.
and you said still attending school, baby Nino.
Wa re o santsana tsena sekolo?
O sampana le mo sekolong.
Yes, she's still bana ba ba rileng ba ikgethile ba ba tsinyana.
Ke ile ke mosetsa ko go sone sekolo sa gagwe gape.
I took her back to the initial school, yes, again.
So what mode of transport is the child using now going to school?
Ngwana o ya ka eng go sekolong la ga jaanong?
O pagama gape.
Thobanyana,
O dirisa dithobane.
crutches.
Have you observed the child getting into the bus and getting off the
A o
bus?
kile wa bona ngwana a pagama kgotsa a fologa mo beseng?
Ke a itse gore o palama yang o fologa yang.
Yes, I know how did she climb or alight.
Can you, for the completeness of record, can you introduce that, what you observed?
Ta bolela se o se boneng ge gore go dira kganyo fetang o e tlhalosa e tlhalose gore
How does the child get into, baby Nino, get into the bus and out of the bus now in the current?
Le a le dirisa le le a itatlhele mo teng.
then she will quick kick the other leg that she's using inside the bus or to enter into the bus.
And then ha fologa
When now she alight or get off the bus,
a ka dula mo di-stepseng a tseye di-crutches a ye kwa ntle.
she will sit on the bus steps and put the crutches down and went outside.
So there's no any form of assistance from the service provider, the bus, in order to make. concluding question. Nino, in her quest for education,
jaanong ge tiragalo e mo amile jang ge jaaka maikaelelo a gage
has it been addressed since this accident?
a jaanong ge morago ga tiragalo
Maybe put differently. Since the accident, has the service
tiragalo e diragala ge a jaanong go tshotse matsapa a go leka go ka thibela tiragalo e tshwana le go ipueletsa kgotsa go ipoa
invested here to avoid the reason why I'm not asking other questions is trying to conceal the information that would lead to getting in where the incident has happened, but we do have it on record.
Is it in Northwest?
It's a fair question.
e diragaletse mo
yes in this province
Maybe let's take it further. Which district? Okay, now let me leave it there. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
A few questions, Mayor. How are you?
ma o tsoga yang
a gona molato mma ke siame
I'm cool that's fine
Okay. The first question I needed,
kotsi e diragetse jang
did you observe the accident or is this information that has been told to you?
a o e bone tiragalo e ga e diragala kgotsa ke
Okay, you were called, but I'm saying the information about how it happened, so was it relayed to you by someone else?
gore e diragetse jang ke mongwe
Accident. So when you were called, was baby Nino
o goroga mo lefelong la kotsi leo a ngwana baby nino o ne a ntse a le teng mo lefelong leo la kotsi
ee ke mo fitlhetsa robe
landed when she was hit by the car?
jaanong seo se boleletseng go tile o wetse fo mo a wetseng teng
ee a gona motho o mo thibositseng
no one moved her
How did she move from that place?
go tloga mo lefelong leo mo kotsing go ya go bona thuso jana ya bongaka o tsamaile ka eng o tsamaile
ko sepetleleng sa Koster.
Koster Hospital
Okay. And you mentioned second.
jaanong ga e buile ka dipetlele tse pedi sa Koster le JST a gona le bookelo kgotsa to Rustenburg JST
Okay, so it's only those two hospitals.
ke dipetlele tse pedi
Receive. I'm saying she's already spoken about the assistance that she did not receive from departments other than mention the principal, but following the accident and obviously you had to
ke ile ka ya ko go ene ke go buisana le ene ka mmotsa gore a mme ke ka ngwana
another space for her in another school
maybe let me rephrase. What are they saying about the incident?
principal a reng ga bona ngwana ba reng a reng maemo a go didimetse fela ga gore sepe a bona ngwana seemo sa gage nothing till the child was experiencing having a pains then
And the driver is the same driver.
go tsogwetsang a reng mokgweetsi yo o nage mo gwele kgotsa ga bona ngwana a reng tota mokgweetsi wa bese
Has really come to you actively.
jalo re utlwile ge ga o thusega a o kile wa ya ge
go kopa thuso
yes I went somewhere to ask for help
Where did you go?
o no ile koe
ne re ile Pretoria
we went to
Apartment? Is it a private office? Okay.
a ke lefapha o no batla thuso ya mofuta mang o thusitswe jang
ke ne ke batla
Okay, where did you get to?
lebele ya kae
be re tla mo Lichtenburg
We-
Oh, okay. And you say other than that private office that you went to,
e o re ne le kwena a le kile la ya kwa motlhakedi mo go mokhuduthamaga MEC kgotsa go
leaders of your community, do they know about this incident?
mokhanselara kgotsa baeteledipele ba lona a ba itse ka tiragalo e
You spoke about the child. You are saying the child is happy. Those are your people who are very resilient by nature, or did she also receive any psychosocial support?
ba mo potapotile ba mo tshegetsa
ee o phela le nna re le babedi ke nna ke phelang ke mo
Social worker, the psychologist, the helping her.
ka nako e ge a nantsa tsamaya a tsamaya a go thola ya ge o na bona ge batho ba maikutlo go tla in Rustenburg Hospital.
Okay. And maybe just to summarize, do you require?
Ga ke sobokanya so tsotlhe tse o di ntshitseng kgotsa attend a better school without boarding a bus or traveling in a bus.
Okay. Yes. For the child and the difficulties you are having in
le thata ke santse ke rata le go mo tlhokomela le nou ya.
Indeed, I had problems, but I still insist. I want to help him even now.
Remember, this is an inquiry, Ribua, where we are talking about challenge scholar transport challenges in the
Gopole fano,
Northwest.
dipotso tsa fano ge re bua ka dikgwetlho tsa dipalangwa tsa baithuti.
And the experience of baby Nino shows us what happens when people do not do the right thing.
Maitemogelo a ga Baby Nino kgotsa se diragetseng Baby Nino se bontsha ge ga go diragala ga batho ba sa dire dilo sentle kgotsa ka tolamo.
So what do you want officials, particularly those who are responsible for scholar transport, to learn from this experience and to do better?
O batla ge batho ba ile goreng ge ba tsamaisa bana ge ba ithute eng ebile ba dire eng botoka kgotsa ba tokafatse eng.
What do you want parents to learn and do better from this experience?
Batsadi ka tiragalo e diragetseng ba ithute eng ebile ba dire eng ba ithute eng ba dire eng mo tiragalong e diragetseng.
Ba ithute go tlhokomela bana ba bone.
Learn to take-
gore ga ba bereke ba ye go ema ko tseleng ba emele bana ba bone ko beseng.
They must make sure take care of their children. If they are not employed, they must make sure they go by the road to wait for their children.
All right, and the department responsible officials?
Jaanong ge papeteng ge batlhankedi ba le gore ba maikarabelo bona ba lefapha
Ba lefapha ba ne ba tshwanetse ba tsenyetse bana motho o ba tlhokomelang.
they must provide somebody who will take care of the children on daily basis.
And then you mentioned that the child is still using the same scholar transport.
O le ngwana o satana dirisa sona sepalangwa se go ya sekolong.
O sampana a se dirise.
Yes, still using the same.
You spoke about the condition of the child, but as a parent, how do you feel every time that you have to return the child into that same transport?
Jaanong ge jaaka motsadi o ikutlwa jang gare ga o tshwanetse ge o ne o busetsa ngwana gape mo sepalangweng sona seo.
Ke ne ke sa itse gore ke direng ka feletsa ke mo buseditse fela.
I did not know what to do. I ended up taking her back there.
And you indicated earlier that you want another school for the child. Maybe what are some of the reasons for that?
O rile ge o batlela ngwana a ye sekolo se sengwe. Lengwe la mabaka ke ya feng gore yalo o mmatla o batla a bone sekolo se sengwe.
Mo a tla beng a dutse teng ha a tswa mo a tsena mo sekolong ha a tswa mo a tsena mo roomong.
Whereby it will be a closed range where the child will just sit and from there get to the school just around the vicinity.
All right. Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you, PM. Mr. Mdabe, let me start with you.
I have no questions for this witness, Commissioner.
Thank you, Ms. Tebe.
Thank you, Commissioner. Mama, ngwana gone anong yana ba pagololwa ko le saiting le fela tsela ba pagololwa ko saiting e ba tla beng ba le safe ya ba tswa mo biseng.
O pagololwa ko saeteng ena a pagololwa ko go yone before a tla thulwa ke koloi.
She allied the same side, the same side that before she was hit by the motor vehicle.
So o setse a tshwanetse ke gore a tlole tsela.
O dira fela yalo nna ke bile ka mo bolelela gore ga o fologa bese ema sebaka se se telele o shebe gore ga go tle sepe o tlo kgone go feta.
Yes, I have advised, I advise her, still doing crossing the road, then I advise her that wait first, observe, wait for a while before you can cross the road.
Okay, ke a go utlwa wa re o batla go tšhentšhela ngwana sekolo. A mo le dulang teng, a gona le dikolo tse di leng teng tse a tla yang ko go tsone?
Ko re dulang teng rona ke ko dipolaseng.
We are staying in a rural area, in the farms.
So ga gona sekolo se se mabapi le ko le dulang teng gore a ka okela teng?
Ee, ga seyo.
There is none.
Okay, yaka o tlhalosa gore o batla a tswe ko sekolong sele a ye ko sekolong se sengwe. A lebaka e be e le gore because bese a e palamang ga e mo accommodate le ditlhokego tsa gage yaka a tsamaya ka dithobane.
Ee, go ntse fela yalo.
Yes, that is correct, that the bus that is traveling with doesn't have all necessary to support her or her condition.
So ha transport ewa e ne ka go ka ga ntshiwa transport e ne goreng e na le ya mo supporta for ditlhokego tsa gagwe ya ka tsamaya ka dithobane, a o tla siama gore ngwana a tswelele a tsene sekolo kwa tsenang teng?
Ee, ga ke na bothata le seo.
Yes, I won't have a problem if support finished with a transport that will meet all her requirements or health condition requirements.
Ke a leboga mma. Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Ms. Chebe. Mr. Lekoma?
Thank you, Commissioner. Age mama le kae?
Re tere o kae?
Ke teng. Ke batla go itse gore kgang ya bese gore e stuck. E ne le tiragalo e diragalang ka metlha le metlha kgotsa e ne le tiragalo e diragetseng ka letsatsi leo?
Ke ne ile gone ke utlwang gote e stuckile, ke ne ke sa itse ga e stuck.
I did not know that it has that there was a time where it used to, but it was for the first time I heard or learned about it stucking or it stuck.
So, yes, Commissioner.
Seeing that the colleagues have decided to use one of our official languages, may I just request that you also interpret the question before she answers. Maybe just ask her to also pause, interpret the question, she answers, and then, yes, because remember we've got other people online that are listening, and maybe also in the room there could be people that are now being disadvantaged. Thank you.
I get your point, Commissioner.
Thank you, Commissioner. I will use English. So basically, you're saying it occurred once and you had no knowledge of it occurring on multiple occasions.
Go ya ka wena gore ge e diragetse gang gonne ga o itse gore ke le a diragala nako e fetileng.
Ee, ga ke itse gore ke le diragalo nako e fetileng.
Yes, I don't have a knowledge about happening previously.
So the child had been in school for 3 months. The child had been admitted into school for 3
Ngwana
months.
na le go
prior
tseka,
to-
yes.
So, go ya ka wena, according to you, would you say that it can be due to, or it can be attributed to challenges in scholar transport for
Go ya-
that accident to occur?
Go ya ka wena o ka re ge kotsi e diragale ge ke kgwetlho ya tshokolo kgotsa ya bothata ba dibese kgotsa dijanaga tse di isang bana ko sekolong.
Ga ke tlhaloganye.
Ke ra tiragalo go ya ka wena o ka re e ka lebisiwa gore ke matsapa kgotsa ke kgwetlho ya dipalangwa tsa bana ba sekolo.
Ke kgwetlho ya dipalamo tsa bana.
Yes, it's a challenge of school transport.
All right. You also indicate that the accident happened due to baby Nino being struck by an upcoming car. Is that correct?
Ule baby Nino tiragale kotsi e dirile ka gore o thutse dikoloi e ne e gabaganya.
Ee, e ne e feta.
Yes, the car that was crossing or passing by.
What happened to the owner of that car?
Go diragetseng ka mongwe wa koloi eo.
Ee, o teng, o siame fela ene.
He's present just fine.
Okay, let me ask it differently.
A ke e botse ka tsela e nngwe ge.
Ee,
What
Yes.
happened immediately after the accident? Did the owner of the car take some kind of a responsibility?
A ka gangwe morago ga kotsi a mokgweetsi wa sejanaga a o ne a tsaya maikarabelo a mangwe kgotsa sengwe a dira sengwe a tsaya maikarabelo
ene ga a sia o teng ga a tsaya maikarabelo ape
he did not run away but he did not take any responsibility.
Was this matter reported to the police station? Was this matter reported, was the accident reported to the police station?
At kotsi e ne ya go bigiwa ko sepodising.
e ke ne ke ya go e bega
Yes, I went to report it.
And what did they do about it?
Nka kgatseng ka yona.
since ke e begile
Since I reported,
ga ise ke tle ke utlwa gape story se sengwe
I have never heard any other thing.
I've heard in your discussions with my learned colleagues regarding how Baby Nino has felt after this accident.
Ke utlwile ge nako o buisana ge gore ge baby nina o na ikutlwa jang kgotsa morago ga tiragalo eno.
And you indicated that she has been happy.
O rile ge o itumetse.
ee ne o itumetse a na bothata
Yes, she's happy. She doesn't have any problem.
And from where I'm sitting, it will be difficult to believe that. From where I'm sitting, it is difficult for me to believe that.
Jaanong ge go tswa mo ke dutseng teng ke a ketefalelwa ke go dumela seo kgotsa go bothata gore ke dumele seo se buang.
Let's talk about immediately after the accident occurred.
A re re ge ka gangwe fela ga kotsi sena go diragala.
Did Baby Nino not experience post-traumatic stress?
Ga gona selo se ga se a mo boela gape mo tlhaloganyong baby none a se gakologela tiragalo e o diragaletseng.
wa gopola ene ke atle ke mmotse a ntlhalosetse gape
She does. I will ask, then she will narrate again to me.
Don't you think, well, since you indicated that she's happy, but according to your perspective, and obviously taking into account the fact that you say she does narrate the accident time and time again,
Jaaka o bua ga wena o re o itumetse mme wa re go na le nako motsi o a tleng a bue gapa go bolelele gebe ka tiragalo.
how do you think it affects her socially?
Jaanong ge mo go ena mo botho ba gage mo go ena e mo ebile jang go ya ka wena.
yone ga ya mo tlwisa botlhoko thata yalo mare fela ene ke ene nang kgapeletsa gore ke tle ko sepetlele ke tlo go mo sainela ba mo kgaole leoto
It did not affect her so much, but she was the one who insisted I must come to hospital to sign so that her leg can be amputated.
Okay. Is Baby Nino's life the same as the way it was before the accident?
Jaanong ge a botshelo ba baby nino a bo a tshwana le gona bo tshwana le pele a bona kotsi a bo a tshwana.
ee ba tshwana nou yana
Yes, it's still the same.
Even with regards to social activities?
Le metshameko jaanong gore metshameko a tla tshameke.
ga a tshameke ke motho o ratang go shebelela bolo a tla a boe a ye ko tlong a nne le nnanyana
Does not play, she will go and watch football and come back to stay with me.
You indicate that she's now using crutches.
O rile ge o dirisa dithobane.
ga a tshameke bolo wa e shebelela e tshameka na kere granto e gaufi le rona
She doesn't play soccer, she only watch because as the ground, the soccer field is closer to us.
Okay. But she doesn't walk the same way as she was walking before the
Me
accident.
ga a tlhole a tsamaya jaaka la ntlha a ne a tsamaya.
ee ga a tsamaye jalo
Yes, she's no longer walking like that.
Do you think she would be happy about that?
Jaanong ge a o akanya gore a itumela ka seo, o itumelela seo.
ne o phele itumetse ga gona botlhoko ba bompolelelang
Yes, always happy, never told me about any pain.
Okay. Now let's talk about your feelings.
A re bue ka maikutlo a gago ge jaanong.
You indicated that you are now a full guardian of Baby Nino. Baby Nino.
O le o tlhokomela baby nino gona ya go tsealo.
ke dira yang
Come again.
You have indicated that now you are a full guardian of
O rile
Baby
jang o nna le wena baby nino o nna le wena sa leruri jaanong.
ee
Yes.
Are you happy?
A o itumetse?
ee
Yes.
Even after the accident?
Le morago ga kotsi?
ee
Yes.
But you have indicated in your submission that you are bearing costs after the accident and you have a burden of carrying responsibilities to take care of this child.
Mme o rile ge o na le morwalo wa sokola mo e le gore ge tshwantse jaanong ge o na le matsapa a go tlhokomela ngwana yo wa sokola.
ee gone ke a sokola mare sengwe le sengwe se ke se dirang ke a mo gopola gore o teng.
Yes, I do, but whatever I do, I will keep on remembering that he is or she is.
Are you still fully happy?
I was told you to meet.
Eya.
Yes.
That will be all from me, Commissioner. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Likoma. I just wanted to find out, you said this matter has been reported to the police.
Ware kgetsi ina bigwa ko mapodising.
Ee ke nna ke tswang go e bega ko mapodiseng.
I personally reported it to the police.
Were you given the case number?
I don't know if you nomoro ya kgetsi o butsing.
Ee ke na le yone.
Yes, I have it.
And since then, you have not gone back to the police to find out how far they are with the matter?
Jaanong ga e go tloga foo, ga o ise o boele ko mapodising go ba botsa gore kgetsi e feletse kae kgotsa go diragalang ka kgetsi.
Ke ne ntse ke boa ko go bone mare ga ba ka ba mpha ntlha e feletseng since ba re emisitse ba rra ba re ngwana tlampe a tle court.
I've been going there several times, but they did not give me a point, a clear point. That they said we must wait. The child must appear before the court.
So you do know who's the investigation officer?
A wa itse re ke mang motlhotlhomisi wa kgetsi le polisi le tshwereng kgetsi o e batlisang.
Ee ke Sergeant Mogapi.
Yes, Sergeant Mogapi.
Yeah. All right, so were you explained to what else needs to be done where a person has been involved in a motor vehicle accident?
O ne wa tlhalosetswa kgotsa wa bolelelwa gape gore o dire eng matsapa kgotsa tshwanetse o dire eng gape ga motho a thutswe ke sejanaga? A o ne wa bolelelwa tshwanetse o dire eng ga motho a thutswe ke sejanaga?
Eya.
Yes.
Are there other processes that are underway?
A gona le sengwe se tsela nngwe e setse morago e le gore le emetse e diragale. Gona le sengwe gongwe sengwe jaaka gore o tlhaloseditse a gona le sengwe tsamaiso nngwe e le goreng e a diragadiwa gona yaanong? No.
So is it that you've got a challenge on accessing that information, or what is the problem?
Ka mantla gore ga o kgone go fitlhelela dikgang tseo kgotsa go diragala eng?
Ee ga ke kgone go di fitlhelela.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much then for your testimony.
Commissioner wa o lebogela ge go lotlegela bopaki jwa gago.
Ee le nna ke a leboga.
I thank you, Commissioner.
And I would implore upon you to please use our office here in Rustenburg to get more information.
Ke tlo kopa ge o dirise dikantoro tsa rona kwa Rustenburg ge go fitlhelela dintlha tse di botlhokwa.
Eya ke tla dira yalo.
Yes, I will do likewise.
And to ensure that you get all the help necessary for baby Nino.
Go netefatsa gore o bona ditsabakelo tse di maleba tse di siametseng baby Nino.
It might be so that according to you, as a layman, when you look at her, she is happy.
E ka nna e nna wena jaaka motho e le gore ge o lebelela fela go ga ona dithuthego tse di rileng gongwe wena go ya ka wena o bona e le motho o itumetseng.
Ee nna ke mmone le motho o itumetseng.
Yes, I see her as a happy person.
But it is important to consult experts in that regard who are able to assist her accordingly.
Me go botlhokwa ge o ye go bona bo mangge ba ile goreng ba na le kitso e tseneletseng go mo thusa mo seemong se sentseng yalo.
Ee ke tla dira yalo.
Yes, I will do likewise.
Truth be told, situation can never be the same.
Go bua nnete tota maemo a ka se tlhole a tshwana le ya nako e fetileng.
E kgone go ntse yalo.
That is so
While she was born, will all her limbs intact to date? She's short of some.
jaanong ge ha bonwa o bonwe ge a feletse maoto a feletse gompieno o tlhaela sengwe.
Kgone go ntse yalo.
That is true.
And that just to navigate those challenges can present a lot of problems that you might not be aware of.
jaanong ga ka ntlha ya lebaka leo ge se nakong e tlang se ka mo tlholola mathata kgotsa matsapa a rileng a e le gore wena ga o kitla wa lemoga
ee
yes
But thank you for being there as that support system. But as I said, please get more help and also just get more information to access other avenues.
ke a leboga ge go nna pilara ya gage go nna mokwatla o mo tshegeditse mme ke kopa ge o tsene o go lebelela dithuso mo batho ba itseng ba nang ba itemogele gore a ye go bona thuso
ke tla dira yalo
I will do so
Thank you. You're excused.
go siame mma ka tsamaya
thank you
thank you
It is now 13:29. Almost at the same time as yesterday. This is when we get to exercise our right to food as enshrined in the Constitution in terms of Section 27. So it is lunchtime. Let us adjourn until 2 o'clock. I hope that time is going to be sufficient in order for us to then proceed. Thank you so much. May we have the next witness on the stand? Mumpati Mahura. It is now 14:14. We are resuming after lunch. I hope we have been able to meet the need and we are all ready to proceed. We are now going to move to the last presenter for the day. I'm not sure if both of them are presenting. Can I just confirm? Or is it only one person that will be presenting?
Chair, I'll be presenting, then during the questions, we'll be answering both of us. If it's right. If it's not, it's okay.
All right, now that is in order. May I then request that we administer the oath on both of you. Let's start with you, Mr. Mupati. Your full names, please.
Chair, my name is Mompati Mahura.
Your age.
My age is 60.
Is it the oath or the affirmation? With the oath, you swear in terms of God. With the oath, you simply declare to tell the truth. So if you believe in God, then you'll go with the oath.
Chair, I'll go the God way,
Thank you.
not any other way. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Any objection in taking the prescribed oath? Please stand still. We are not yet done. Any objection in taking the prescribed oath?
No objection.
Do you regard it to be binding on your conscience?
It is binding, Chair, because it's the truth, nothing but the truth, must be told.
If that is so, please raise your right hand and say, "So help me God."
So help me God.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chair.
The next witness. Your full names, please.
My name is Motei Emmanuel Mudisani.
Your age?
I'm 47 years old.
Do you have, is it the oath or the affirmation?
I'll go with the oath.
Do you have any objection taking the prescribed oath?
I have no objection.
Do you regard the oath to be binding on your conscience?
I regard the oath binding on my conscience.
If that is so, please raise your right hand and say, "So help me God."
So help me God.
Thank you so much. Mr. Mahura, are you going to present firstly before questions are then asked?
Are you comfortable, Chair, with presenting, then questions will come later?
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair. Thank you, all the commissioners, and thanks to the parents who complained about the scholar problems, including the scholar coffin buses. I'm here representing small bus operators in the province of Northwest. I am a regional chairperson of Sandsborg in Nagamodiri Molema. Firstly, let me acknowledge that, yes, there are problems from our side. And those problems are caused by the following. Let me take you back to 2017. The contract that started July 17, 2017, it was under the auspices of NTI. Now, in the interim, NTI did not qualify in terms of the CSG payments and so on and so forth. We had to wait for a period of 6 months so that the NTI, the NTI contract must then be transferred to the Department of COSATMA. Now, there's the first delay in terms of the payment in 2017. At that time, we had an HOD in the name of Mamo Fuki, I forget his first names. She was a current HOD at that time. Now, during that time, there was a time in January where we had to go march to the Department of COSATMA that we want the money that we worked for. We didn't want presents and all those other things. We wanted money that we worked for. Only to realize that their budget constraints were that they were running short of 100 million at that time. Now, fortunately or unfortunately, H caught up with Mamofokeng, then came in Mr. Morule as the acting HOD in that department. Now, during that time, they had to make means and ways of getting the extra 100 million so that we can be paid in time. After Mr. Morule then came, towards the end of the contract, then came, that is 2022, or 2022, towards 2023. Then, after Mr. Morule then acted, I forgot the same name, she was here with the HOD yesterday, Mpo. I just remember her first name, with the HOD of COSATMA. She was on the left, on his left-hand side. Now, whilst there were those problems that were not sorted out, and I think during that period, there were a lesser issues in terms of the scholar transport service providers. Now came in September 2023, the appointment of Dr. Kekana. Now, at that time, the horse has already bolted because he just came in to sign into that the contract there was that is currently in process of 5-year contract. Now, in 2023, in September, what they then did as a department, they called all service providers who were by then appointed so that they can then check the passes. It was December 2023, if my memory serves me well, but there are records already checked that can be accessed from the Department of Transport. Now, first thing first, I was wondering as to whether the Kgosi Montshiwa Airport, does it have the necessary equipment to test buses? Because in Ngaka, buses were sent there. That's where the first problem came in. That was created by the very same department that is complaining about us now. Now, logic will tell you that if you test a bus, you must go to the testing station. And at the very same time, There were buses that were hired from Atamelang, so that the new service providers, I don't know their names, but their names should be with the Department of COSATMA. They hired the bus for 3,500, so that that bus can then be shown there that he or she has got a bus, or that company. Now, we complained because there were media, you know, there was a media hype in terms of photos running around. Hey, look. Now, that is the second thing that is questionable. The first thing is there equipment that can test the bus in that Mutsua airport in Mafike? Secondly, how are people allowed to hire buses so that they can then pass? And after passing, now come the change in January, a different bus. And all the departmental officials were dispatched to the airport and different testing stations. I'll just allude to the one that I know in Mafeking, but in different regions there were those testing stations, I don't know where. But that one, because I'm doing it under oath, I can attest to that. Now, the other major problem during the testing of buses, all the buses, in terms of the lease, there are lease agreements. There's nothing wrong with that. But we then realized that people who leased these people buses, they presented those nice buses that they were talking about yesterday. And only come January 2024, they decided to withdraw the buses. Now, if you go to a contract, you've got this bus A that you are appointed with. Now, in terms of the practicality of the contract now taking place, you'll have another bus. Whose problem is that? There's the Department of COSATMA. It's not us, small bus operators. Now, in the very same contract, HOD said yesterday, and that was true, that there were leases, but did not give you the figures. Now, it was those who've got buses, they were about 40%, as opposed to 60% of those who don't have buses who've got leases. There's nothing wrong in that, I'll say that again. But the only wrong is that different buses were presented. Now, after December, as Sandsborg, we initiated the meeting with the HOD. He was on his way to Mpumalanga. I don't remember the date, but we had the meeting in Rasidi Hall in Mafike. To come and say to him, Chief, look, one, you are appointing people, you've never called them to come so that we can address them. Two, we are aware that there are unadvertised routes. We know that you've got your list and everything. And possibly in terms of policy, we cannot get in there. He said, no, yes. And then on that very same day, he said he's going to advertise a panel. Now, that is January 2024. We waited and waited and waited. And we are asking ourselves, is this the right way of resolving the problem? Maybe we are not so learned to know the policies of the department. But the question still remains, do you advertise on top of an advertised? That's one. Two, we ask those questions, but normally we say to us, this is not your field. You are just those bystanders. Okay, fine, no matter. Up until towards the end of the year, I think around August, he then advertised the panel. He said he'll advertise it in January so that he can mop up whatever that is left behind, whatever those unadvertised routes. Now the question is, you are advertising a panel, not the routes. And on the very same document that is currently running, is that you only apply to a district with a maximum number of buses, that is 5. You need not to have more than 5 buses there. It's fine. Now, the question is the 90-day period. Was it up to November last year? Or where was it up to? I think the person who can give that information should be the HOD, not us, because he's our boss or our employer. And also as to when were people given the, what do you call it, the appointment letters? Were they given to them January this year, or were they given to them in December? Now, yes, that data, what is this panel, the panel? So you make a mess first to say, I'm appointing this number of people, and I know for a fact that maybe they will run away. Now, coming back to how does a bus operate? Look, if you get a route, you were saying it yesterday, and it's on record, that people had to withdraw. You give a person a route of maximum 24 kilos. Don't forget that we get paid for 200 days or less in a year, because you are not paid Saturdays, you are not paid on the holidays, it's pay as you work. Now, in a month where there's only 10 days, you'll be getting 15,000 in that one route. How much do you pay the driver? That's the first thing. If you give him 7,000, it means now you are 8,000. Two, out of that 15,000, now you are left with 8. The diesel. Let's say you are fortunate you're paying a diesel of 5,000 for that month. How much are you left with? Possibly less than 2,000 or 2,000. Now, what is that you are going to get in terms of you as a service provider? Are you not being set up to have a coffin, a moving coffin? Because basically when you are giving that 15,000 in 1 month, the other month maximum will be about 35,000. And your January, your June, your September, your December, I'm talking about the holidays. And also in April, the holidays that we are in currently, you are not going to get paid for that. Are you saying it's a real business? That's why people had to run away, specifically those who didn't have passes. Because when they realized that, oh, I thought they are paying me 365 days in a year. They only pay me 200, and they pay me according to the laws that I've done. Now, the problem with this department is one, the cost, the root cause. You appoint, you are new in the department, you came in September 2023. The question is there any baiting that is handed over? Are you doing the check and balances? Before you even sign the contract of 450, initially in the NTI contract, we are 190. Now here is 450 invoices. Are you going to perform? No. You won't be able to perform because you are having the very same limitation in terms of the staff that you are having. Now, when you are still new in the department, because that department is not where you can give your kid something to go and work there. They are hiring these kids. They are giving them stipends. Every 2-3 years, they are being chased out, getting new people. But we've got vacancies that are existing, where you can basically make those people permanent. Now, 2024, January, you've got the new HOD, you've got the new staff. Your turnaround time of 2 hours is not going to be feasible because the first 3 months, you must make this internship. People, all of them are new. You must start to say to them, this is how things are done, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Whilst at the back, we are busy transporting learners. Whilst at the back, we are busy transporting learners, but people are starting to learn new work. And I'm definite that they could have retained 2 or 3 who have been there for long so that they can guide this. Now, I was listening yesterday to the Department of Education and COSATMA. I'm an ex-teacher by profession, an ex-principal actually. In terms of the opening of schools, as a principal in a school, you must send figures to the ISC. Those figures are then sent to the district up to head office so that they can be able to say, we've got this number of learners, we can hire this number of teachers, and so on and so forth. Now the question is, their war room, are they discussing that? So that they can then be able to budget correctly. And I'll give you this other scenario. In Vryburg, there's a place called Itagwaning. I used to operate, I was operating with one bus. I don't have any problem with the new operator. But when it was advertised, it was in 2 buses. Now the question is, I operated, I'm not talking about any other person, but about myself. I operated with 1 bus mid-term of 2017. Now the advert was saying 2 buses. And because I'm from there, I checked, 2 buses were operating at that time. There were 65 learners going into Woody Township and Vryburg. Now the question is, those 2 buses, are they still there? That's one. Are they still operational? Who paid them for what? Because those learners are going to different schools, but they were less than 60. And as I'm talking to you today, there's a new high school in Itagwani, meaning that there's no more serious need of learners going to Woody Township in Vryburg. On the very same municipality, there's a place called Color Block. You know, these RDPs have got names. Now in Color Block, a new school was opened last year in April. Now, if they had 10 buses, the question is, how many buses? Now, we're talking budget here. I'm giving this to, there's quite a lot of them, but this I know I can. It's not about rumors. You know, the HOD was saying yesterday, we tell him this, we don't want to tell him the truth. Now, the question is, in terms of the extra bus in Vryburg, why are you not making a saving out of that? In terms of learners no more going to the, driven from Color Block to Woody Township, it means there's going to be a decrease in terms of buses. Now the question is, all these savings, I'm telling you about this scenario of the budget, they might not only be in Vryburg, they might be in other schools. Where in other schools, the school closes, learners are driven back to the township because most of the learners will dodge from the township to go and attend in the farm schools. Now, if you get your personnel right, the 430 million might be sufficient for you to run the scholar. I'm tempted to agree with the Department of Finance that these guys are looking for 1, 2, 3. But now they're coming with a reason. You go to Limpopo, Chief. Limpopo is paying more than 65 rand. That we were told about yesterday. That we are crying babies at Salzburg to say we want more. But go to Limpopo, do the homework, you realize that they are being paid more. Now, the other factor to have those coffins that we're talking about. Now, you are having that 15,000. You're on a gravel road every day. Your prop shaft or whatever gets broken. You know, a starter pass, I bought it last year. It was 5,000 rand. Now I'm getting 15,000. I'm buying a starter 5,000. What does that mean? It means I'll not even be able to ferry learners to school because I'll not have money for diesel. And the secondly, in terms of my human resource, my driver will even complain to the wife because the wife will think that I'm paying him, he's doing something else with that. Now, whose rights are being trampled onto? My right, my employee right, the child of my employee, because this man is a driver because so he can support his family. Now, if you are not paying me 6 months, where I'm supposed to, that 15,000, I'll talk about that 15,000. specifically because I'm from there. Now, how do I pay? You know, in the meeting in what is it? In that hall here, we asked the HOD, does it make sense that we employ so many people? Because in the last contract, you'll have your 10 kilos coupled with 60 kilos, coupled with maybe another 70 kilos. Now, that 10 kilos that you are given, you are able to support it with these other two routes. You are able to say, okay, the 15,000 that I'm getting will be for diesel. And then the other bus will be the drivers, will be paid from. Then my profit will be on the third bus. Now, people were given one route, meaning one bus. You get your 15,000, that's it. Who created that? That's the department. Why? Because they even jumped. If you can go back to court, the 2017 was litigated contract. And it was supposed to be re-advertised and redone. Unfortunately, COVID came into the picture. And since then, we've been operating month to month. Can you go to a bank and say, he says, let me see the contract. Month to month, you can be fired anytime. So you are not even bankable as a business person. And unfortunately, all this one finger will point at us, but the four fingers are pointing at them. How do you give a person one route? Maximum, that person must make about 60,000. The job that you give him, at least if he can get 60, he can have a take home of 10, then 50 will be your diesel, your driver, and so on and so forth. Because one tire of a bus currently is costing you 5,500 rand. I'm not talking about a brand new tire, I'm talking about the retread. Now, are you not seeing that coffins have been created by the Department of COSATMA? They are creating coffins. And if you go and buy a brand new bus, that will cost you about 1.8 million. And you'll not pay anything less than 40,000 as an installment. Now, are you saying you're giving me this business to survive or to suffocate, and you say to me I'm driving a coffin? Doesn't make sense. So I'm a coffin myself, because there are two coffins. You have the bus coffin and the owner coffin. So because the owner is also dying. Now, those are the economics of owning a bus. Now, the trend that we are seeing today is that let them have the coffins, we'll replace them. He said it yesterday. He's going to send this traffic cops and whatever unit to go and impound all those buses, making way for who? For those who are in the panel. You created the panel so that you can get rid of people. You replace them with now the question is, you have 130 members in the panel. You've got 450 service providers. Does it balance? No. Take us off the road. It means the department will be on strike because learners are not going to be taken to school. How do you balance the 150 as opposed to the 450 service providers? Now, basically, you as a department, even if, before we can even say we are not going to work next week, is creating that space. Instead of paying us, we are told, pass, if it's not pass, it's this, if it's not this, it's this. The last payment that people received this year, it's in January. And those monies were of last year. You know why did we get that money? We said we are going on strike. We wanted to what do we do to the rights of the learners? Because at the end of the day, if you don't go to work, it means we'll be violating their rights by doing so. We, ourselves, we called a meeting at Victory here. The departmental official who came, I forgot, Mporantona, the one who was here yesterday. We said to her, if you don't pay us by the 20th of January, I think the schools were opening on the 15th, somewhere there. We are going nowhere. She could not believe it. We said in all that we're going nowhere because people were since paid in August last year. That's why the issue of not servicing buses and all those other stories that are created by the department. And then Treasury had to, because people on holidays, the very same poor, I think, she came from a honeymoon because we made a lot of noise. No, it's true, she came and the others didn't come, including the HOD. Now, they had to knock and knock hard on, I don't know who's the director of finance. We had to call that direct. We also had to call ourselves, Sonakil, to say, Sonakil, this is your department, what's happening? Because we're not taking learners to school. We are going to trample on the rights of learners, not because we want to. That's how we got paid. The last 2 million in the department was paid in March. Because at that time, we also went to legislature. We went to legislature in March, and that was for the second time. We presented our case to say, look, we don't want to trample on learners' rights, but our rights have been trampled into. Can we get the situation? The HOD of finance was there in that meeting. And the MEC of Kwasatma and the HOD, they were there. We were made promises that no, there is a environment, 55 million and all those other things, you'll be paid. So every time we need to be paid, we need to make a lot of noise. And that's what we are going to make next week, unfortunately. We are heading there. I must just make it clear. Because even today, we have not been paid. So the rights of learners, the rights of bus owners, the rights of drivers and all those are trampled upon by one department called COSATMA. Deliberate or not deliberate. You know, it's surprising when we say, I went to Treasury, I could not get money. The question is, at what time? And the most disheartening issue is that the very same department have unpaid today, but they are going to take a disc from my bus. And this care bus per annum, it's 18,000, a smaller size. Now, if I don't pay it for the next 5 months, because 90% of us, the disc they expire in December. 10% they expire in March. Because it's your January to December. Now the question is, that's what I'm saying, out of the 450, let him go and take those discs and stop and put them in whatever. He's the one who's making a strike. He's the one who's still going to trample on the tools. That is why they agreed that we drive with the disc that are not supposed to be there and roadways. Because we pushed them in January to say, no. We are going nowhere. And that's where the problem is now. In their SLA, let me just check the pages. You see, they read their document where their interest is. Where our interest is, they don't. I hope that you've got a copy that is on page 21. Page 21, 3.1, 3.19. It's talking about the escalation. It reads as follows. An annual escalation percentage shall be announced by the department during the first quarter. Underline that the first quarter of the government financial year. The escalation percentage will then be effected on monthly payment certificate from the date of approval by the department. What's the first quarter? This is the first quarter. Nothing has been said because people are still saying, hey, we don't have money. Where are they going to get the money for the escalation? Even if they say 0.5%, they're not even, it's not budgeted for. Now, this contract started last year. In April last year, it was the first quarter. Nothing was said. This is our document. And on the very same page 21, there's a list. Expired disc, penalties 1,005. What does that mean? it means they agree that you can drive with an expired disc. They will then penalize you. Drive will penalize you. And all, it's a list. When out tires, blah, blah, it's up to 22. That is page 21 and page 22. You find this in their document, the so-called SLA. Now, I'm going to another page. Page 21 and page 22 in the SLA, 3.19 escalation. And then we'll have your penalties. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't. Hey, Banner, you remember it's another page. I think there's a commissioner's homework. You'll go through that to say, are they really doing us good? Then you go to page 10 of the SLA. Dispute, termination of a contract, 2.5. Now you've got your 2.5.1, where the department discovers it's up to G. And 2.5.2, where the operator, what. Now, they are saying, they're not going according to that document. They are saying, if I've got a tire burst, I did not take kids to school, then I'm terminated. But there's nothing of that nature in this contract. I'm just giving an example. They are saying, your bus has got an accident, we take it off the road. But they are not paying you. They are the cause of that accident. Now they terminate your contract. Now, and they are merciless. They'll come to the scene and say, "Ntate, you are terminated." It's not even in writing. You know, I was listening to their WhatsApp, blah, 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 blah. That's how they do things. They do it by word of mouth. Now, what do they do? It means the porter, because he's terminated, he might be having another pass that can replace this pass. The porter is terminated. They don't even check with tab. For enter the tab, I'll not be extra. If you don't have one, because this is an accident, can you provide a pass? They say, terminated. There's the police department anyway. They act like the police. So in essence, and in short, I will not go lolololo. These are the problems that we are encountering in terms of ending up with the coffins on the road, in terms of ending up with some roadworthy passes. January, today is the 30th of April, no payment, only stories. We are told the bus is just the bus. You know, you don't know whether they're referring to the bus that you are driving or the bus of the department. Because it's all pass. So even today, and that's what I'm saying, today is Wednesday, tomorrow is a holiday. How are you going to pay me in a holiday? Friday, how are you going to process mine on Friday? So it means next week we are not paid. And we are happy because he's happy that he's going to take the buses off the road. We are happy for that because he is the self-inflicting. He's inflicting that onto himself. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Ndate Mahura. We are now going to the questions, and I believe Mr. Nkonde is ready.
Okay, thank you very much, Chairperson. And Tate Mahura, it's one witness I will face difficulty in questioning because you were all over the show. I'll follow that sequence just to get understanding of the issues. Let's start here. I hear you repeatedly, you are agreeing that there are coffins on the road.
Yes, Commissioner.
Okay. Don't switch off the mic because two are allowed to be on, yes. You will only switch it off maybe when your colleague is answering. So, in your response, you are attributing these coffins to, you are saying they are a creation of the department.
100%. Because if they were paying, you not have coffins on the road.
Okay.
Simple and straightforward. Pay me, let me work, let me get paid, let me repair. If there's a coffin, let me get rid of the coffin on the road because I'll be having money. Thank you.
In terms of your admission that you are saying if they are impounding your passes, they are self-inflicting because they'll be violating the right to education by not taking children to school, by the children not reaching to school.
Yes, Commissioner.
Have you used the same SLA to raise your issues with the department, especially when it comes to the 9 payments?
Commissioner, it's because of this topic of non-payment. I thought that the HOD would be here, but fortunately, Osmpo is here. She'd bear me a witness that we normally go to the street and normally cannot block her. It's our blocker. Now, the issue here is even next week, we are not ready to take learners to school. Simple and straightforward because you'll not be paid by Monday.
We are coming to that.
Yes.
Of the issue of next week. My question is, have you used the SLA as your guiding document that you've signed with them to have yourselves paid?
We had a series of meetings. I will say the first one was in March 2023, where we had to wait for the HOD from 8 in the morning until 4 at their boardroom. We said to him, HOD, we believe that there's a budget for payment. May you pay so that the auditors must not run. You see, we like running the auditors must not run on your neck. He said, because unfortunately, most of the time he's not hands-on. And I'm not sorry to say that. He said, no, I've paid. He said, okay, fine. We then called Mr. Molefe. We called Mr. Tladi, that's his workers, and Mr. Mongwe. We said, call them, let them tell you that we have not been paid because we have not signed the SLAs yourself. No, okay, they were saying, no, only 6. We're not talking about 6. We're talking about 70% of the SLAs that were not even signed or corrected by March 2023. And he said to us, I remember the chairperson, Dade Khodum, in that meeting he said, can we verify, because down there, people are not processing payments because of the SLAs. That's one other meeting. We also went to another meeting around June. We've been going to meetings, talking payments. That's why I'm saying that we've grown gray hair. And it's unfortunate, Commissioner, let me just come in. This issue of non-payment, it also defocuses us in terms of getting into the depth of the SLA.
Okay.
That's another thing. Issues that I'm raising here, some of them were not raised because every time we meet, it's about money.
Let me ask my question differently, then I leave. I live on this part. So will I then be correct to assume that you have not exercised 2.4 in terms of the SLA, the dispute resolution?
Which page is that one?
It's page in terms of your paging because it's page 10
Page 10.
in terms of the document that you have.
Where's that page? Is it the one that we're talking about?
SLA, we are still with the
yeah.
SLA, yes.
No, is that the one that is talking about escalation? Or which one is this? Let me just, where are they here? Sorry. Yeah, page 10.
Yes,
Termination of contracts.
yes.
Is it where we are?
Yeah,
Yeah, we have not, definitely we've not gone through to this because you see the problem is Tago is found alone in his corner. And Tago, unfortunately, I must admit, some of the members who are operators, they don't read this document so that they can defend themselves.
okay, no, it's fine. I'm trying to, let me try and control this conversation. You agree that you've not used 2.4 and over and above 2.4. And you are counting instances where you've not been paid. I think your theme from the evidence that you've given today is payment. Have you considered going to court, taking them to court? Because you are legally contracted and they have breached by not paying.
Commissioner, we resolved 2 weeks back. We went to Motsabi and Associate so that we can have, I don't know what you call that law, crowd what, so that as a crowd we can then be, we crowdfunding or something of that. We are on that route because, you know, we didn't go that route because at the end of the day, they'll have to pay us with interest. And we've got the interest of learners. Now, if they pay us with interest, it means the budget will be depleted within 2 months. So, but we are at the point, 3 weeks back, we've decided in our meeting and we went there, we consulted. It's only that we are waiting for funds from members so that they get paid, then we hit the ground running.
So in other words, you are happy to continue engaging with the department without getting the money to fix the buses. And inadvertently, you are also contributing to the right or the violation of the right of the children to get access to education.
We are no more having joy of that, Commissioner. We are now tired. Maybe we had joy previously. But like I've said, we go in the legal route. It's end of the story. Next week, no one is going to work. End of the story.
You know, what attracted the commission to yourselves was a statement issued by Mr. Washington Dozini. I think it's your general secretary
Yes.
In the province.
Yes.
It also spoke about you withholding your services. Is that the solution?
We tried to withhold, but because we didn't want to trample on learners' rights of going to school, we then became victims of the department. But at this juncture, there is no any other way but to go that route. Currently, there's no, I mean, since 2023, 24, 25, singing the same song. What one would do?
But I've suggested a second way, which you have agreed to, and Mutsabi was brought into. So we cannot say that there's no other way. Strike is but one way, which you seem to be preferring. Legal route is another way which you can go to, which is available. There's dispute resolution in the SLA that it's built in. And I'm just suggesting 3 of the few ways, but you seem to say you are confining to yourself to this one, and you are saying it's one and the only way?
The unfortunate thing, Commissioner, is that members are dying. Their families are dying. They can't even, because you are a business person, you don't qualify for NSFAS. Your child might not qualify for NSFAS because they see your income. Now, your income is above the 3.5. Now, what about my child? Other people's children have not yet gone to school as you are talking. So, you'll be taken on board anyway, publicly in terms of the public media. We will have a meeting tomorrow or Friday, and we are supposed to have a meeting with the department today. But we are told, no progress. So how do we go to a meeting in the department that was no progress? We had a meeting last week in Tatetlat, and we were promised that by Friday last week, members will be paid. Now, another Friday is just 48 hours from now. We don't have a remittance to show us that we are getting paid. We have. That's why I'm saying to you, the public will be taken on board as to, because you'll have to check, first of all, how soon can he get into our case.
Okay, no, it's fine. I seem to think that you're taking a route of public sympathy than dealing with the problem that is here. MEC, when he was sitting on that table previously, I just want to get clarity that are you not part of the problem in terms of this payment problem that you are raising? MEC raised an issue saying that, one, some of the invoices are not completed correctly. I do take the point that HOD yesterday said they don't have money, they can't pay for whatever reason. But one of the issues that were raised by the MEC when he was sitting on the table, he said, people take long to submit invoices. Two, some of the invoices are incorrectly completed. To what extent is that part contributing into this whole mess of non-payment?
Commissioner, before my colleague helps me, did they give you stats? That's the first thing. Department of Abua, they don't come with proof and stats to say, in month January, we had this problem. 20 people submitted instead of 150. They must be putting that, because you who alleges must then prove. They must prove that we are doing things wrongly. How to do things wrongly from January last year to date? Doesn't make sense. It will never make sense. The problem is money. They must not hide behind anything. And just to pitch in, one of the bus operators, going back to the MEC story, was phoned that he did not have a comma in January invoice last week. Now, you were told about the 2-hour turnaround strategy. You were told about the war room and so on and so forth. We are told that when you submit, they tick. Now, if people have ticked that you are correct, what if, I don't know, maybe they used a rubber to rub that comma or whatever, but they ticked, the evidence is there. So whoever comes and tells you that we contribute, first thing first, give us the numbers. Even today, they'll tell you they paid. We fought with the HOD. He'll come with this laptop. Paid. We say, refer evidence. That's how he operates. To an extent, unfortunately, I'll say that, one of the executive members, he said to him, go meeting, go sundown. I think it's around March, later. He said to him, no, Arishasha HOD. He was very furious. He nearly hit that man. We had to apologize. We even, the way we are, we even apologize for his wrongdoing.
Okay, no, it's fine.
So they must not come and lie. Let me put it straightforward. If they tell you these are the problems, they must bring them in paper to say, we paid 50. I heard him yesterday saying that some people are paid. He said, we don't want the amount. We said we want the name of the companies only. To say, company A, B, C, D, so that when you go back to members, you say, no, Taroman, your company appears there. Don't make a lot of noise. You got money. You don't care about how much you got.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's move on. Then I'm taking the point to say that you are disputing the fact that you might be a problem in terms of because what the MEC, the HOD was saying yesterday, that part of their interventions, they'll be creating a checklist. But now let's conclude on this part. You are disputing that you may be part of the problem by incorrectly completing some of the invoices.
We are not.
Okay, let's move on. You suggested in your evidence that the issue is not about money. And you painted a background of you being a former principal, and you seem to be a bit knowledgeable when it comes to the financial workings. You are saying the budget of 430, you said 430, I said that yesterday. They said 450. You are suggesting that in some of the rationalization and other movements of the routes, they could be making a saving. And you suggested saying that actually this 450 million may be enough to take care of this project. That's the suggestion I got from you.
You are right, because once you close a school, learners are no more being passed. You're making a profit or whatever income, you can call it whatever way. Now, your profit must then determine your expenditure, because I've been spending 50 rand, now I'm going to spend 45 rand. Now, there's another 3 rand that I must spend, so you end up with a 48 rand, where now there is a need for the learners.
Okay.
Now, people are hanging onto schools that are only closing, where learners must be transported. I'll give you a scenario in Dry Huts. One of my colleagues was operating there. He was taking learners from the village to a farm. Up until he complained to one of the directors, he's no more in the department, he has been sent somewhere. Then that director in the department, then what he did, what do they call it yesterday? He went to maybe that war room, and they closed that school. And he was redirected to where services are needed. So if they can give you a report on what is happening, not a mouse. Thank you.
It's okay. So if you're saying 450,000 is adequate in terms of your own assessment, where could be the problem then in this whole thing? Be brief. Be brief.
Problem maybe might be with the person who signs off the budget or the CFO of the department. Because as an HOD, you must be taken on board on each and every little thing. Now, basically, it says, Treasury is saying it's enough. Why are they saying it's enough? It means they've got their own checks and balances. But yeah, checks and balances are not done. Thank you.
Okay. Now, in your evidence, and I will tie this in with what you've just said now, even though you were very cryptic in your response. In your evidence, you said some buses were being hired at a cost of 3,500 in order to be presented for an inspection. Yet when they now go and serve on the ground, they bring a different bus. To me, that sounds like a misrepresentation, a fraud, corruption of some sort. HOD was very firm, saying that bus operators are always complaining about these things verbally, but they have never actually lodged an official complaint to say, this is what we've seen, this is what is happening, we are formally complaining about this. He says there's no official complaint in his table.
Commissioner, if I'm not wrong, the chairperson called Ndaditlad on that day of the Atamelan buses that were taken there. And Ndaditlad is a director. He had to confront Atamelan bus services by then to say you are a commuter, how you then take buses there. The answer was simple. No, if somebody has a bus, it's not a problem. Now, I usually bus it locally at 3.5. Now, the question is what happened to those people? That's what the problem is currently.
Are you aware of one particular case wherein that particular incident happened, where somebody took a bus, hired it, and then presented it? I'm not saying give us names. Are you aware just of one incident?
Yeah, one of the members called me.
Okay.
Her name is with her. He called me to say, hey, I don't have a bus, I'm taking a Tamela. I thought it was a joke. When I saw it in media, I said, yeah, it's a diabo, I'm on Northwest.
Have you not considered opening a criminal case, because that's fraud? Because we're trying to solve a problem here.
You see, Commissioner, this is twofold. This is twofold. Let me give you this scenario. There is a departmental official who did not go on the ground to check the kilos. He has been paying this person for the past 5 years. Kilos are 30 kilos. Maybe they put in a zero, it's 300 kilos. Now, I don't have a problem when the HOD was saying you could not fire other people. Because as a department, why are you misrepresenting? There's a corrupt and a corruptee. You've got these two cases. It means one or the other, the departmental official is aware that there's a 30-kilometer route. How do you have a 300, I'll just give you a 300 route in KK? And even that was even said by a departmental official in our meeting in Klexop. To say some of you here, they put a zero next to say it's 300. Now, how is it impacting on your budget at the end of the day? Okay. You budget at 30, you pay in 300.
But
we cannot at all material times be the coffin drivers, please.
Okay. But do you agree with me that scenario that you are painting also affects you as a current operator? It takes away from the money that you're supposed to be getting.
That's why
yes or no?
That's why I said earlier, I agree with the department of that there's money. Something is done wrong somewhere. It's a yes. I'm getting hurt because of an official and one service. It's not, the bag is not full of those potatoes. Mm-hmm. You might have only one potato in that bag. Mm-hmm. So we cannot be treated the same. Okay. But that potato, to take it out, the department must do their job. It means they are not monitoring. There's no monitoring system. Okay. Because if they are monitoring, I don't even have to say Tago is getting 300 kilos instead of 30. There's a lack of monitoring in the Department of COSATMA, and they are saying they are money. They only monitor when there's an accident.
Okay. Now, I hear you, I understand. Institutions like your human rights, they've got a way of reporting cases anonymously. I suppose your public protector as well could handle cases on anonymous basis. Looking at the fact that somebody has told you as a chairperson of an organization that is suffering from non-payment, and there's certain misrepresentations that are done, which affects you, your family, the family of your driver, and so forth, what is stopping you from probably reporting such cases on anonymous basis so that we get a resolution? Money is made, money will be available, obviously, if these things are stopped, and then you'll be paid on time.
Chief, you've got kids, and these people, they are cruel. You report something, they realize that it's you. Because there's a departmental official involved and the service provider. So once you get into their line, I'd rather sit at home selling tomatoes than policing around and getting hurt. It's unfortunate.
You're talking about intimidation.
Yeah.
Okay. One of the submissions we received in the first pack and in the first report, there were allegations against you operators that you are intimidating even your own drivers when they have to report that there's a coffin. This bus doesn't have brakes. And if they report, they are intimidated by yourselves. What is your comment on that? We don't know where it comes from, but it is there.
Chief, my comment is simple. That's a wrongdoing because you're risking. Look, this brings me into another point. We are supposed to be having this insurance for, how do they call it? Liability, passenger liability in all the buses. But we can't have that because at the end of the day, you don't get paid consistently. Now, if there's that accident, the passenger liability will not even pay because of the brake failures. So whoever is doing that is wrong. You rather park the bus and sell tomatoes.
So you are bringing another admission that some of the operators do not have this insurance.
Yeah, I'm saying one potato, bro, in a bag
Okay.
doesn't kill all the potatoes.
I understand.
Please.
You also seem to suggest that instead of certain procedural actions being taken against you, say you have not, your bus breaks down, or there's an accident somewhere, or you are not compliant in one way or another, and there's a penalty of 1,000 rand, they must issue you with a notice. You seem to suggest that the department goes for an overkill. They go and terminate instead of procedurally following what is provided for in terms of the SLA.
The bus that got an accident some 2 weeks back in Mega City, the person who is leasing that bus, he called me to say on that day, I'll not call names, he said, you are terminated.
Okay.
Finish and clear.
No less.
That was on a Thursday. And then us, okay, fine, because of that, they didn't have to go to school on Friday. And the following Monday, the termination was implemented. Another person was taken out of, I don't know whether that database or whatever, to go and work there.
Okay.
They don't sit down with you to say, these are your mistakes. How do you get them right? If you can't get them right, you don't have any pass, let's terminate. Simple and straightforward. We are not against termination. We are
Okay.
against the process.
Okay, no, it's fine. I just want to conclude because I'm looking at the time constraints. One question as a chairperson of the organization, Small Buses. When, I see the invitations from the department to come and inspect and do all sorts of things. From your members, when was the last inspection done on the buses?
The last inspection was done in November 23 to 25. That inspection was specifically for those who are in this new database, that new panel. That was the last time the department, even if the HOD was saying December, it was last year in November, 25 to 29. that week because people were sent letters to say you qualify, let's come and check your pass, then you are in a panel.
Okay, so you are saying testing or inspection was done only for the members of the panel?
Yeah, those who are in the panel.
Okay. Let me ask you a personal question. Are you still operating in one of the routes?
Unfortunately, I was terminated in March. I was working month to month. So I said, thank you, no more heart attacks. Park my bus.
Yeah.
Yeah, because in terms of the unadvertised routes, you are reminding me of something. In terms of the unadvertised routes, I was on that route of 24. I'm talking about 15,000 of that route. I'm not talking about anything else. Now, there were two routes that I was supposed to go back to last year in January. The one for 93 kilos, I wrote a letter to Madail. Madail referred me to supply chain. To date, I've not received any, whether it's a negative answer or not, because I was saying you can't take me back to the route that I operated. That was not advertised, the one of 20 kilos, and then cut my head on the one of 93 kilos in bread. So now I'm happy I'm out.
Okay.
Aksana distress. Came January to March payment, that's it.
Then, okay, it's fine. Apart from the buses that are on the panel, to your knowledge, when were the other buses last inspected?
I don't want to lie. I'll not be lying. I'm not so sure. It should be that one of the airport where there are no mechanisms, the one in December 2023. That should be the one when people are appointed, where somebody gets into a bus, don't brick, but in terms of my knowledge, you go to a testing station, there are machines that will make sure that those buses. Now, that's why we had that bus last year, the accident, the Khawaga steering wheel, because they were not tested correctly. If you remember that story of the driver driving and the steering wheel was pulled out, had that bus been inspected, and it was even 3 months later, if I'm not wrong, after the inspection. Now, what type of inspection will you tell me was done?
Are you therefore suggesting that the inspections are just a tick box exercise?
Yeah, you tick in the box. You just tick the boxes. You can't have a bus that was tested in December 2023. Steering wheel is a March. To me, it doesn't make sense. I've been in transport industry, the taxis, and I've been there. So there's no way. So that basically means that bus was not tested, it was ticked. Or about the indicate right, indicate left. Tama, it's sharp. Simple.
Okay. One of the anonymous submissions as well indicated that there's a trend in you as bus operators who you hire old people that you would not be paying UIF for, and it would be easier to fire. And it is also a source of some of the problems in implementation of the services that you're supposed to render for the department. What is your comment on that?
Well, Commissioner, it is true that some of us are hiring those experienced drivers. You can't take a taxi driver, base. I'm sorry for the taxi drivers, I acknowledge, but I apologize upfront. Whoever see me, I guess I need to take, but you can't take a person who's driving a smaller car, then so unfortunately, 90% of people who are experienced, BTH, and all those other things. Now you are avoiding accidents, you are avoiding quite a lot of things. You might as well be avoiding that UIF that you are talking about. But experience is the best. We don't have experienced drivers, especially for the buses and the lorries.
I have two last questions, then I stand down. I see the issue of buses and coffins that we are talking about. There are serious issues of or allegations again of overloading that I don't think it's the sole responsibility of the department. What is your comment about those allegations that buses are forever overloaded?
It's not an allegation. It is the truth. I've been ferrying 200 learners in 2 loads, 100. And then when I went to the department, they call it an internal control in the department. They said scratch, write 65. I've got evidence for that. So the department is comfortable with that. Instead of them paying me extra, for me to get paid, you know, unfortunately you are talking about me in terms of the overloading. They said 60, otherwise you don't pay you. We can go into those papers when there's a list of 220 learners. So overloading is acceptable in the department.
Okay. You're now raising another question which I was not intending to ask. What is your preference in terms of payment? Because I think I saw it in one of the anonymous submissions. Do you prefer being paid per head or being paid per distance you cover?
There are two scenarios or two, it's a threefold thing. One, I'll be comfortable if I'm driving in a gravel road and I get paid for that. Because in terms of the maintenance, I must at least get an extra 2-3 rand so that the ball joints and all those in the buses, roads are not fine. And secondly, in terms of the third road, you might have a difference. But basically, give me what you have been given as in terms of, they were alleging that 65 rand per kilo and all those other things. And also, in terms of the short distance, let there be what do they call it? Where all of you are getting a living wage. Let's say the 10 kilos, let them be given about 40,000 for a living wage. Because the 10 kilos, you can't live with that and you are giving that route. So it must differ from one area to another in terms of the roads and also in terms of the kilos that you are getting. So that you don't tremble on learners' rights.
So you are saying standardization is not the way to go?
Yeah, no ways. Because that person is not maintaining as I'm maintaining the bus. It's unfortunate.
So what I'm getting from you is that the price that is charged, whether per kilometer or per head, it must be built by different components: rural allowance, distance. There must be a variety of factors that builds into a particular price. Is that what you say?
You are correct.
Okay. Last question on this aspect. We have asked for the submission of the department. What is the current kilometer rate in the department?
The current kilometer rate differs. A shorter distance will be about, I don't have those stats with me, but it will be, I'll give you a scenario. Let's say it will be a 50 rand for a smaller route, and then the longer will be about 30-something rand or 40 rand, somewhere. It differs. The more kilos you travel, the lesser you get. The rate goes down. Just that I don't have stats. I think we'll submit them in writing, but you are going to, but we'll email those rates.
With leave of the Commissioner, can we have this so that we triangulate with what the department will submit, because it's very key. This is also, we also have another figure that was submitted by Treasury, so we need to understand and analyze the evidence in that score. Last question for me, the vetting issue. As owners, or when you are signing the contracts, what is your view around vetting?
Commissioner, if you're talking about vetting the drivers,
No. There's a reason why I did not take it to the drivers, because
Okay.
the department is contracting with you.
Okay.
You are contracting with the driver.
okay.
The vetting could start with you, because if you are not allowed as a service provider to deal with children, we shouldn't be even talking about the driver. What is your view around vetting?
Richard Amunwana, they can come and vet us. I mean, if you are a sex pest, how do you work with you might even hire other sex pests to drive those learners. So there's nothing wrong in being vetted. We'll be happy to get that.
Commissioner, thank you very much. I will rest here.
Thank you. May we have the next colleague, Mr. Mtabe?
I don't have questions, Commissioner. Thanks.
Thank you, Ms. Tabe.
I'm covered, Commissioner, thank you.
Mr. Lekoma?
Thank you, Commissioner. Good afternoon, Mr. Mutisani and Mr. Mahura. Thank you for the evidence that you have brought before us. I just have a few questions that I would like to ask. Mr. Mahura, do you condone overloading?
I'll never condone that. It's only that I'm forced to do that because the accidents, first thing first, in a bus, if it's overloaded, your shocks, whatever, even the brakes might fail because of the because as another driver, we don't want that, but we are forced to do that by the Department of COSATMA. They say we'll come back. They're still coming back even today. We don't want that.
So if you are forced to condone overloading, don't you think you are creating a cycle of problems?
You see, I'm charged as guilty as charged, but let me give you this scenario. In a village, you cannot say, learner ABC. You go to school, another C, D, E, you can't. You are looking for chaos. Parents are going to go on strike, your bus can be banned. So we just doing that so that you don't lose your investment.
Okay. Tell me, how long do you normally go without getting paid?
Every 6 months, 3 months. It varies from 3 to 6. Maximum is 6. Minimum is 3.
And when you do get paid, do you get paid for backdates?
Hey, Chief, it depends on how lucky are you. Sometimes they'll pay you all your money. Sometimes you'll get it in drips and drabs. You might get your November, later you get your December, later you get your March. They might even jump March and pay you April. It depends on your luck.
Okay. I'm basing this on the fact that there was also evidence provided by the Auditor General that mismanagement of funds is, in some instances, as a result of some service providers being overpaid. Are you aware of this? And if not, what is your view on it?
In the previous contract, yes. That's why I was talking about 30 being 300. That's why I was talking. Then that was said by department official in Clarksop in one of the meetings to say, some of you here, they've just put an extra 0. So as to what happened to that extra 0 and that service provider, we don't know.
Okay. COSATMA indicated also in their evidence by the HOD about a lot of allegations against service providers, such as fraud, changing of drivers, driving with expired discs. Are you also aware of this? And what is your stance on it?
Hey, Chief, pay. You'll not get these things. Just pay.
So,
I mean, one driver, let me give you this scenario. One driver has worked for 3 months. The wife calls me. And then the wife decides that she fires my driver. You are not going to work now. Sit at home because you are not giving in money. So you are subjected to change drivers. Because some drivers, they'll stay for 6 months, that you have been there with them. But other drivers, 2-3 months is gone, and you end up with this sex pest. It's going back there because you are in a hurry, you just take every Jack and Jill on the street without even vetting.
It seems that you are alluding to a lot of allegations that have been leveled against you. And also, that also includes the fact that in some instances, COSATMA would recommend that you put your buses on the road with expired discs, and you still continue to do that. Do you know that is contravention of road and traffic laws?
There are two contraveners here. The very same COSATMA, they are not paying me, and I'm also contravening because I'm trying to get food on the table. Let me be honest with you. They don't, and at the end of the very same people who don't pay me, a disc of 18,000, you might end up paying for 60,000. The very same people who don't pay you. The very same people who will be taking buses off the route next week, who will be creating a strike themselves. So it's these two parties. If it means they must both go to jail, but the other one will go deeper. COSATMA will go deeper because they're not paying.
So you are actually agreeing with me that both you and COSATMA
Yeah.
are breaking the law.
Yeah, hey, we are breaking the law, and given it the lawmakers, unfortunately.
That will be all from me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Likoma. May we then move over to PM? You've got some questions?
Just a few questions for me also, and thank you for the evidence you've given. I was not present at the start of your evidence, but I did seek to ascertain whether the issue I wanted to clarify was attested to. If you have spoken to it, you will, you can indicate. You indicated that you are the chairperson of the Small Buses Operators Council
In Ngaka di Modiri Molemo.
in Ngaka. Okay,
Yeah,
all
thank
right. I must, and this organization, is it just a district or it is a provincial organization?
It's a national organization.
Or it's a national?
Yeah,
Okay.
we've got the national office in Centurion, if I'm not wrong.
Okay, what I wanted to establish from you is really to get an understanding of the structure of that organization. You've already alluded it's a national, provincial, and you are in regions. Okay?
Yes.
In terms of the membership, do you have information on the membership of that organization? The size of the membership?
In the province, we are 190.
In the Northwest?
In the northwest, out of the 400 and something.
Out of
Operators.
the 400, okay, you said
Operators.
190?
Yeah, 190 as opposed to the 450.
Okay, 450, okay.
And can I add, ma'am?
Yes,
To become a member of our organization, you must have a pass registered either in your name or in your company name. Now, the differences in terms of the numbers is that most of the people are leasing buses. So they cannot be members, unfortunately.
okay,
Thank you.
okay. No, that does put into perspective the membership you are representing. Maybe then just to zoom to the region that you are speaking on behalf of. Are you here on behalf of your region only or the organization provincially?
On behalf of the province,
You are speaking on behalf of the
yeah,
province?
not of the region.
Okay. And who is the chairperson in the province?
The chairperson is Mr. Final Kodumo. He's got some other errands that he's running at national. That's
Okay.
why I was deployed to come here.
Okay, you've been formally
Yeah, deployed to come here.
delegated
Yeah.
to present on behalf of the province. Okay.
Yes.
No, that's what I wanted to clarify. You've already indicated in your evidence that contrary to the submission by the HOD that there was a testing that took place in December of buses, so that you confirm that there was no testing in December.
It was in November.
Yes, so meaning there was no testing in.
Yeah, in December. How do you test during the holidays?
Okay, because
Doesn't make sense.
Well, that is the evidence we have, but nonetheless, we have asked the HOD to provide the evidence of that testing, but we've taken note of your submission that there was no testing. He further indicated that there was supposed to be testing in January. You will recall that, and operators said they are not available because they could not service their bus. Do you recall that submission?
You see, it's us who said to him.
Yes, I'm saying you.
Yeah,
that
we
is
told him that,
correct.
look, you do not pay us. And to test a bus, you must pay the disc and go through and pay municipality and so on and so forth. So can you give us a grace period so that when you pay, we can then go straight to the testings? We don't have a problem with that.
Okay.
But unfortunately, to date, we don't have a cent.
Okay, so the concession is that indeed you have asked not to be tested as testified by the HOD, and the reason is because the buses were not ready for testing.
Yeah, we are penniless.
Okay,
We could not go to the test.
okay,
Not the bus, the money.
the money.
Everything is money.
Okay,
You don't
so,
have money, you can't test.
okay, so you are saying the only concerns or issues you had is the issue of the discs. Is that what you are saying? That you couldn't afford to pay for the discs and the like?
And mine, the one that has not been working, it has moved to 40,000 from 18,000. It's 45,000 now.
You mean the disc?
Yeah, because of the areas.
Okay. Okay. What I wanted to establish, because the HOD, when he gave evidence, unfortunately, there was no qualification to say the concern was around this. That's why that you didn't have the money to pay for the discs, but there was a concern also that he said was raised that you could not fix your buses. So meaning some of them, there were issues with the buses. That was his evidence. Do you recall that evidence?
I recall, ma'am.
Is that so?
Look, can I just interject? For you to even know that there's the ball runs and all those, you take the bus to the testing ground and you pay when you enter there.
Yes.
Now you'll even know all the problems because they'll not give you a disc when the bus doesn't comply.
Yes.
Now, it's like we are hanging on to the disc, but the major thing is money to go and test the bus. And if you've got, I'll use this word, hot tires, ditamati, you can't, wow, o risk in the first place. So I've been put in that risk by the department, by the HOD of this department.
No,
No.
I get the whole narrative. Well, I'm not sure if I'll come to that because it's been canvassed, but my interest really is the reasons why you protested and did not submit to testing in January. In his submissions, he said some of the concerns raised was that drivers have not been paid, therefore they didn't have money to service and fix their buses in December. That's what he said. So I'm just testing, is that also part of the submissions you made to him? Or did you just say we can't go testing because we don't have money for this or to pay the testing fees? That's what I just want to clarify.
It was a gentleman's agreement between us and him.
Yes.
Yeah.
No,
to say,
yeah.
continue, I'll be paying you in a very short space of time so that you can then go and take your buses to the tasting and so on and so forth. So I agree with what he said yesterday. It was a gentleman's agreement, though it might be illegal.
Okay. So you agree that part of the reason was that the buses, some of them are senyegile, you know, they could not be fixed in December because of payment. That's why they couldn't go for testing. Okay. Those buses.
Can I just, look, if you are paid October, November, I get September, October, November.
Yes.
Then comes the holidays. Then you take your bus to the cleaners. You check everything.
Yes.
You even pay the driver the bonus.
Yes.
Because December we got 5 days. Now, the issue here was Haware Patela, September, October, November. We are not talking about the December money.
Yes.
So that's where the problem came into being. Had we been paid October, October, November, and September,
Yeah.
we'll be seated somewhere.
I think there was that concession that you have not been paid for a while. But the reason why I was seeking to clarify that, which is also an issue that I did put to him, really to say if the buses were not fit enough to be tested, for whatever reason, why are they fit enough to be on the road with children?
That's why I said it's a gentleman's agreement that is illegal. Because legally they're not supposed to be on the road.
They're not supposed to.
Yeah,
that's
legally.
okay.
It has got no zero, it's a zero effect. No disc or whatever, don't get on the road.
Yes, you've used a word that has weighty meaning in law. You know, there's a difference between something that is unlawful and something that is illegal. You know, once you say it's illegal, it has even elements of criminality in it.
Ma'am,
So I'm not sure if the word was just used or you do understand the import of
I'm
that
not
word.
just using the word for the
okay.
sake of using the word.
Yes.
If you get an accident with a bus, kadiski, you are going to be subjected to punishment by South African law.
Okay.
To say, one, you are not supposed to be on the road. Two, even your RAF might not even pay. When they look at those passengers that are there, if one of them dies or breaks his leg, RAF, where's my little knowledge? They'll say, why did you get into this bus
Yeah.
that is not fit to be on the
To be
road?
on the road, yes.
So I'm talking legal in terms of that. It's illegal.
Illegal, yeah.
Yeah, I can't run away from that fact.
No, I really appreciate the candor because I think that's what we've been missing in this discourse, you know, that candid conversation, but nonetheless it's very sobering thought that we have a government department involved in illegal activities because unfortunately when the HOD was sitting where you were sitting, as we were trying to engage him about the gravity of the situation, he did not have that same appreciation about the illegality and the gravity of the situation. We're not talking about a breach of contract only. We are actually talking about an illegal activity. So that's why I needed to make sure that you understand the weight of what you are saying because unfortunately others who were sitting where you were sitting didn't have that kind of appreciation.
We are from different schools of thought anyway.
Yeah. The last question I want to ask is the issue of the payment rate. You did indicate that the amount you are receiving is not enough. What is the current per kilometer? I understand there are several payment rates. What are the current rates that the department is paying?
Can my colleague here, because
I might not have the exact figures, but there's a figure for around 70-something rand per kilometer.
70 something, okay?
Yes, and 52 rand per kilometer, and another one 48 rand. But those, they differ according to the distance that you travel,
Yes.
and also the capacity of the bus that you use.
Okay, it's 70 something, 50 something, and 38 something, 30 something, 40 something.
48, yes, and there's.
And in terms of
Okay,
the
I think maybe let's just agree to say it will be submitted.
it will be submitted,
Yes,
okay.
yes.
The reason maybe in your you can either make this in your submission, or if you have information, because I've asked for the same information also from the department, so that you see it's important to always triangulate to check whether the information we are receiving is correct. The reason I'm interested, you know about the report from Treasury, the concerns that were raised, that at the time, that was in 2019, the Department of Education in Northwest was paying almost double the highest rate of any province. That was in 2019, and that resulted in escalating the costs for the service. So I'm very much interested in the rates, and also if you have information, how it compares to other provinces, because you've already alluded to the fact that Limpopo pays a higher rate than the Northwest.
It's true. I think when we wanted more money, if you can say more money or more payment, we benchmarked to say this province is getting Western Cape, what. So it's only that one is not having that information. And during that time of the 65 rand. So it's our homework that we need to submit those that we're benchmarking, because I remember that we were negotiating with the department to say, this province is paying this province is paying this.
Okay.
So we'll submit, I think within 7 days. Let me not say tomorrow. Tomorrow is a holiday.
We'll be guided by the commissioner in terms of the timelines, but I think others have been given until 16 May. So I think, but we'll be guided by commissioner. And maybe the last question from me, because you've indicated a number of challenges that you are facing as service providers. And that information, as I've said, is very sobering. But there's also another school of thought to say, given all the challenges that you have narrated, you have a moral, if not a legal, obligation not to provide the service under those circumstances when you know that providing the services in those circumstances will place the lives of children at risk. So what is your comment? Because you seem to be saying we have no choice, but there's the other thought to say, but you do have a choice. If you know you cannot provide reliable and safe transportation, for whatever reason, you have no business providing that service at all, particularly to such vulnerable groups.
Hence, I was saying that before he takes those buses off the road, we'll park them from Monday, because they'll be illegal on the road. They're illegal. And whilst we'll be looking at getting our money back in extra percentages through the legal means, because this is putting us in a very difficult situation. And this thing of just saying, hey, I'm a parent, I'm this, my neighbor's child must go to school, it must just come to an end. Maybe the department will listen that we don't want to be illegal anymore as of next week.
Thank you, Commissioner.
I would just like to hint that maybe your statistical information will indicate the poverty level in Northwest.
Yes.
And with the ways things have become, where now the morality is being questioned, I would also like to say, imagine a situation where this is the only form of income in a house. And you have already seen the trend, the approach which the department is doing, where it's a divide and rule approach. If you do not service, you run the risk of losing the opportunity. And so painful that you are being replaced by people with new buses, some of them from other provinces. And you are saying, couldn't this department empower me, enable me, give me an opportunity to rise and let the money circulate in Northwest? But instead you are faced with, it's a very strategic approach where you see the wisdom of those in power, using the strategies to eliminate you. Then yes, we will be asked, your moral fiber is downgrading, but the system is killing the moral fiber. I was just saying, in the consideration of the situation we are here as Sandsburg, an organization that is still growing, we need empowerment. Some of the things that you need from us as an organization to can stand for ourselves legally, we don't know. Some of the things we need assistance. You see, he mentioned about crowdfunding, where we say, can we come with funds? Let's find lawyers to represent us. We have used the only available means to say, let's talk to these people. We are also affected to say, these are our kids. We have not striked up until early this year, all along. And if you can check in history as far as 2011, 2012, the same problem is happening. You ask yourself, is there a determination to help fellow Northwesters? Thank you.
No, indeed, you are raising a painful situation, but I think there's a need to reflect honestly. We've reflected on the accountability that has to come from the department, but it's also important also that there's also accountability from service providers. Indeed, you are right, Northwest has the second highest unemployment rate in South Africa, and actually the highest expanded unemployment rate, the second highest poverty rate in South Africa. So as a person who works in the province, I am fully aware of the conditions that you are referring to. But there still has to be accountability, because at the end of the day, life, it doesn't matter what you can never retrieve. If a child dies, that's something you can never get back. So it's really important, as you advocate for your rights, that you also seek to hold yourselves to account and reflect. What is the price you are willing to place on life? And is that price worth it? Thank you.
Thank you so much for the testimony. We have really learned a lot from this. In fact, I must say that a number of rights have come up from the discussion. Whilst, yes, we have been looking at the right of education for the learners in respect of scholar transport, but we also now talking about civil rights in terms of the rights of drivers, the rights of owners. So business and human rights also is playing a pivotal role in ensuring that the right to education is really being accessed. So those are all the rights that will definitely be taken into account when we deal with our ultimate report. But from my side, I would say and implore upon the organization to say, please use avenues I think what is coming up is similar to what was said even to the MEC for Education, to say, have you really looked at the policy? Have you familiarized yourself with it? Do you really understand how much it empowers you to be able to move forward? And what was clear was that for her, it was not really something that she understood. But you also have an SLA. Try and use it for your benefit so that you do not tremble upon the rights of the learners. Whilst, yes, we understand, you also would want to ensure that your rights are protected. And that is why you should not wait. You can't wait from August to December to exercise your rights for you to be paid. It should happen sooner. According to National Treasury, the submissions that were made was that you should even involve them where departments and provinces are failing to pay you timelessly. You have got the right to approach them directly. And so what I wanted to find out from yourselves is that, have you tried to exercise that right in that regard? Or you have just been talking to the province and that's where you've left it?
Commissioner, we are on a learning curve. You must accept that maybe when you are in that situation, you can't think of other things. We are thankful that you are redirecting us to another level in terms of the treasury. We'll definitely go back to members and put that on the table that let's read these things whilst we are stressed, but let's go through them. Thank you for that information.
There has been then an undertaking from yourselves to submit some of the information that was canvassed with you, amongst others, the issue with regard to the rates, and of course, any other information that you feel is important that we should have. But I must say that it's a bit of a concern to realize that there might not have been payments from August until, was it then December when you ultimately got payment. But I would want, if it's possible for you to share the information with us, to see where there's been gaps insofar as payments, because what the HOD of COSATMA considered too is that there has been drips and drabs of payments for different service providers. But hopefully he will also then provide us to see which ones were catered for and which ones were not catered for, and what are these requirements that he says have not been met. And I don't know if you've got a checklist which has been provided to you, which will assist you in ensuring that when you submit your invoices, you are able to, to tick and say, this I've submitted and so forth. And if that has not been done, maybe you can just also, in your further submissions, you can allude to that. Please be aware that we have still not finalized our probing of the MEC for COSATMA. So it is an opportune time for yourselves to then submit more information, because all this that you have put to us this afternoon, we are definitely going to converse with him on the next date, which is the 14th of May. So it is the 14th of May, so I would say, please don't wait until the 16th for submission, rather submit earlier so that we've got the information and we'd be able to then engage him on this information. It's worrisome to just hear that there are concessions to commit illegal acts, and this would be coming from those in authority. It's really worrisome. So, but again, let me really thank you for engaging us. You were also the very important part of this discussion. we would not have been able to finalize without your involvement because we wanted to also hear it from yourselves. In fact, you have put it in a better perspective. Whilst the tone that was set yesterday, it was everything is hunky-dory, and clearly it is not. It is not. And this is another thing that I asked them yesterday to say, but from what point did it change? Because we would not be here if things were running as smooth as they were made out to be yesterday. And even this morning, I tried to canvass it with the MEC of Education to say, at what point were these so-called changes that you say you've come up with, and why we still have people complaining then? And again, the answer was not that clear. So, but hopefully we'll be able to get documentation that can then prove whatever point that they want to drive home. But from yourselves, please also assist us in order to be able to come up with the proper recommendations that can take this matter forward. And maybe this is also an opportune time to say that, yes, as Human Rights Commission, we are being chastised for not doing certain things. But our act, as well as the Constitution, is very clear on how far we can go as a commission. We are there to research and, of course, educate. And how we do it, this is through these national inquiries where we probe and we make sure that everything is then documented. And of course, the standard is still the same. It's more like a court of law where you need evidence. You know, when there's no evidence, it becomes a challenge for us to move forward because we'll be working on nothing that we are able to prove for sure when ultimately the matter lands before a court of law. It will just be thrown out, you know. So please assist us to also keep records of things that you do, the information that will be available for your future. But of course, the use of the older persons, I must say I like it. I don't take offense to it for a simple reason that the other conference I attended, the call is that there shouldn't be a cut-off age for, you know, for those that are still able to work and provide a service. So we are very happy that you are able to use them optimally, but just make sure that you give them time to rest as well. Thank you so much. This meeting is adjourned until the 14th of May, where we are going to have the MEC of COSATMA. And this time we are not going to meet in Mafikeng, but we'll be meeting in Rustenburg. And let me also thank you, the audience, for really being attentive, being here. And yeah, each time I say, let's you know, keep quiet, and you complied. Thank you so much for that. And this meeting is then adjourned. Thank you. Thank you, colleagues.